school principal. She's a graduate of Corporate Women Unleashed, and we're going to share her story and talk a little bit about where she was at, where she's at now. And Katy, thanks so much for being willing, I guess, to be here, to pay it forward. I know there's other women out there who have experienced the things that you have experienced. So it's really great to have you share and be here. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. So let's begin with where you're at, right? Like really quickly, just tell us, like, what are the results that you've received since going through CWU? Like, how is success and how is your life different for you now?
I think the biggest change is just my level of self-awareness. I'm really much more in tune in the moment of what's going on in my life and not immediately internalizing all of these feelings that I just, throughout my entire day, I would just take on other people's problems and internalize them and feel like I had to solve everything, and I had to constantly achieve. And I was always considering, you know, how other people's actions were reflective of me. And now I'm at a place where I'm able to pause and reflect back and say, that isn't a reflection of who I am. And kind of take back some power in my own life.
Ooh, I like that. Take back some power.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that mean to you? Like, now that you feel more empowered and you're not taking on everybody else's stuff, because that's a big deal for high achievers, right? We're always running in, saving the day, blah, blah, blah. Like, what does that look different for you? Are you able to disconnect more? Are you working less? Are you calmer? Like, tell me what's the shift?
The biggest shift for me is that I have taken a little bit more control over my schedule and recognize when I need to just go for a walk, and kind of settle all of the craziness that's going on in my mind, because my mind could be running a million different directions at any given time, or having to put out fires in so many different places, while also trying to think strategically for overall continuous improvement of my organization, while always dealing with all these, you know, finite details that happen day to day. And sometimes I just need to calm myself. And what I've realized is that when I take that time to go for a walk, or I'm lucky enough to have my 1-year-old be in a daycare that's on site. So I know if I need to go connect with him, I can just take a few minutes out of my day. I can do that, and then I come back refocused, and much more effective and efficient in my work. When I finally disconnect at the end of the day, and given my schedule as a high school principal, I'm at work 7:30, 8 o'clock every single morning. And then sometimes I come home at 4:30 or 5 just in time to say hello to my kids. And then I'm running off to work a football game from 7 to 11 or present to a school board meeting. So my schedule, I don't have like a regular, oh, well, I can come in at 9 and leave at 5. And, you know, that just doesn't work in my field.
Right.
What's nice about it is that when I go home during those times, that time is a lot more valuable to me, and I'm not just continuing to spin on my day. So that time becomes much more connected with my family. I turn off my phone. I just know, okay, now I can compartmentalize a little bit better. And I've also been a lot more effective at disconnecting on the weekend and just saying, okay, if I don't have something scheduled that I have to be at to supervise, and even that has improved, where I've started to delegate more and kind of share the wealth a little bit more so that I can have that dedicated time. It might be, you know, going out for a weekend boat ride with my husband, just the two of us, and reconnect. Or I started taking horseback riding lessons with my daughter, just the two of us, so that we could connect, and start to find strategies that work for me and my family, that it just doesn't feel like my work life is taking over everything anymore.
Control. That's what I'm hearing. Control over like intentional living and intentional in your career.
Yeah, it's taking my life back rather than work being my life.
Yes. Okay. Next question. So where were you at before CWU? So like paint a picture of what that life was like.
So before I came to CWU, I've always been a high achiever in anything that I put my mind to. And part of that was that I always stayed open to opportunities, and I would say yes to everything because I didn't want to miss out.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways that was great because I got to experience a lot of things out of life that I may not have otherwise experienced. But what it also did was it just completely overwhelmed me. And that was part of the reason my first marriage failed, was because he felt like I kept taking on more and more and more, and then there was nothing left to give. And just before I came to CWU, my husband now, and we have a 1-year-old baby together. We have 3 older girls that are 9, 15, and 21. He was feeling the same way, like, oh, great, now it's just one more thing that Katie's taking on. Like I signed up for another class, or I'm on a new executive committee, or now I'm on a new board, or now I'm taking on this higher level position.
Yep.
And my husband made a comment that Katie's not really happy unless she's close to tears. And that really hit me hard. I'm thinking, why is it that my happiness is so enmeshed with my level of stress? Like, why are other people noticing that? And I'm not even really self-aware of that because I keep putting more and more stress on. Mm-hmm. And then is that really making me happy? Or is that just what other people are thinking makes me happy? So I really needed to connect with that. And at my lowest point, my husband was at the point where he said, something has to change. We either have to go to counseling or we're not going to make it. And I'm thinking, okay, great. We've been together for 5 years. We have a 1-year-old baby. And now he's thinking that this isn't going to work. Right. So that was really hard for me, and taking that look in the mirror and saying, okay, well, I did a lot of work after my first marriage failed, and I felt like I had moved forward, but maybe I didn't really do the work that I needed to do. Like maybe that counseling or those strategies, maybe that worked in the short term, and then maybe I need a refresher in that, or maybe those strategies just didn't work at all, and I need to try something else. Wow. So I was really at a pretty low point and knew that I needed to do something that really was focused on me. And I needed to learn how to voice that work and be able to voice the help that I needed in order to do that work.
Wow, that's amazing. Katy, thank you for sharing that. What else did you try, I guess, before then you came to CWU? What did you do, try to fix it? Or were you just not even aware of the level of, what you were facing?
I think a lot of times is that I would just go and go and go and go and not be aware of the impact that had on my relationships with people. That internal drive and that sense of achievement was just so strong that I felt like, well, if I keep doing that, then I'm going to get to this place of happiness. It's kind of this, it's out there somewhere. And in the meantime, I'm letting everything that can make me happy in the moment, it just doesn't really matter. I'm not devoting any time to that, or I'm not investing in that. And so when it would get to that kind of breaking point, like, oh my gosh, my husband's going to leave me, or, oh my gosh, I'm going to go crazy and I'm ready to just quit my job, which is where I was at actually before I got this position. When I was a vice principal, I was just ready to walk off the job. I just couldn't handle it anymore. When I got to those points, then I was just grasping at straws. Like, okay, well, I need a quick fix now. And that's when I would say, okay, well, I need to find a counselor, or I need to start writing love notes to my husband, or, right? Like, so I would just start looking for any kind of strategy that I could find that would fix it in the moment, but it wouldn't be a long-term shift.
Got it.
They were just those short fixes.
Got it.
And then it wasn't really changing my mindset at all.
Right.
It wasn't changing my own approach to myself. It was just, oh, I see a problem and here's a quick fix. Yeah. And then those same problems end up happening over and over and over again. And I realized through CWU, though, that pattern has existed since I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it just manifested in different ways throughout my life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing. It's like you're plugging the hole in the dam, you're like putting a finger in.
Yeah.
The dam is going to break, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, cool. Katy, how did you find us? Like, how did CW came into your purview?
I'm a big proponent of the power of attraction. And I think that's happened throughout my life in a lot of different ways, that usually what I need somehow finds its way to me. And I just have to be in a place where I come from a place of wondering, or a place of inquiry, like, what is this? Or I wonder how that will have an impact in my life. And then those things tend to fall into place. So I think I was probably on Facebook, and just something popped up about CWU on my Facebook, and I just thought, there's other people like me. Like, there's high achieving women that are struggling. And I think also part of my achiever self was that I would see other women in my field. There's not a whole lot of women that reach high school principal or assistant superintendent or superintendent, which is kind of the 3-level track of where I'm at. So like the top 3 positions in a school district. And there's not a whole lot of women around, but those that are, I always had this perception that, oh, well, they have everything together. Like, right. These are the women that I'm aspiring to be, but I'm not really walking their life. It's just my perception of that. And as I got up into those ranks and I start talking with these women, I realized, okay, that was not correct at all. That's not what their life is like. And knowing that I wanted to do some more work to really connect with who I am, so that I could be the most authentic self in whatever it is that I want to do, rather than feeling like I'm trying to live up to someone else's expectations, or I'm trying to shoot for this particular brand or perception that I see of what the perfect person in my role would be, but really connect with myself and make sure that, I was the priority, and not other people's perceptions of me as the priority.
Right. No, I think a lot of women, we struggle or suffer from that, right? I love your word authenticity. That's huge, because that's what's going to make you feel comfortable in this audacious role that you have, right? If you're playing it your way.
Right.
That's huge. Okay. Do you remember the first thing I told you to do? Or was there something when you first joined CW, you're like, what are these people talking about?
The very first activity in week 1, where we were looking at our needs map and recognizing there's these 7 needs that we need to just be assessing, and how are these different strategies, what strategies are you employing to meet these different needs? Yeah. And my background, my undergraduate degree was in psychology. My doctorate is in neuroeducation, so I've done lots of work around human development and human behavior. And so the actual idea of 7 needs was not anything that was new, at least from a theoretical standpoint or from an academic standpoint. But then actually digging in and seeing, okay, well, what am I doing now that are strategies to meet those needs, was really challenging for me. And I remember the first message that I sent was, as I'm completing this activity, I feel like I'm just writing more strategies and adding to my to-do list. Like, what is going on? Like, I don't have the time to do more. I'm already doing too much. I need to stop doing that. And your first feedback to me was, it's not about doing more. It's about reimagining what your time is and how you can just kind of change the script on those strategies to meet those needs, rather than adding to your to-do list. So it really required a big mind shift, because I was very much in a place of, I have things to do. I have these lists. I need to prioritize these lists. And if I don't do, and part of it is being in the job that I'm at, there's a lot of compliance pieces from a lot of different organizations, the State Board of Education, grant requirements. Like, there's a lot of compliance. And so my brain automatically goes to, well, I have an assignment and I have to do things exactly the way that it's set, and I have to comply. and now this is more work. So it required me to just pause and think, okay, what am I doing right now? And I hadn't really thought about what I was doing, at least really, really thought about it.
Yeah. Like deeply thinking about what are you doing? What
Exactly.
actions are you taking to really meet what you want out of life?
Yeah. And recognizing at some level, all of my needs are being met to different degrees. Like I'm eating every single day. That's required for my body to sustain health. But is that the most nutritious way or the most time effective way? Or is that even a value of mine to be paying attention to that? And then is there a way that I can shift how I do that to better meet my needs and maybe allow more focus in another area? Rather than just saying, okay, here's my strategy. I'm going to meal plan on Saturday, and then I'm going to make all my meals for the week on Sunday, and I'm going to buy all of these packages, and it just seemed like I was creating more and more systems that were not sustainable.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay. So that was like that refinement or that stretch or that new way of looking at how could I create actions and beliefs that are really going to meet my needs more effectively. So what happened right away? Where was the first shift for you, or where was the first sort of, do you remember? I know it's been a while since you were in CW, but was there something where you're like, oh, something's changing. This is getting better, quote unquote.
I think the first real shift started to happen with my mindset call, and really kind of quote, taking the elevator down and understanding what was really happening in my inner psyche about why these things were coming out in my behavior. And really trying to dig down to what is this root cause? Because right now I'm putting out all of these surface fires and they're just self-perpetuating. So what can I do to really dig down to this root cause to prevent all of these fires from continuing to pop up? Because those are exhausting and they're not making me happy. And it just feels like you're a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah.
So having that mindset call and really digging down into that self-realization of where some of this behavior could be coming from was a big turning point for me. And then actually starting to use that language and speaking to my husband about it was a huge step, because I tend to, I assume that other people don't want to hear that from me, or they just want me to solve those problems. Right. Rather than understanding kind of all the behind the scenes, what's going on in your mind.
Right.
But once I started to voice that with my husband, I started to voice that during the team meetings that I was leading in my job, and bringing up some of these strategies with my employees, it started to become more of my authentic self. And really demonstrating for other people why it's important for them to understand what their underlying causes are for their behavior, so that they can make those shifts. Because if we're all just surface level, nobody's really being real.
Right. And then we're behaving in ways that don't get us the result, and we're wondering why we're overwhelmed. We don't feel our success. We're unhappy. So what was the shift then, Katy, for you? Was it once you understood some of those underlying causes, you could see your behavior for what it was? Was it allowing you then to just chill out, not get so worked up? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you feel like the cause and correlation was?
Yeah. I think once I came to that awareness or that realization, and then I was able to voice what I thought the root cause of my behavior was, then I started to own some of the things that I was doing and show people that I was owning it. Because one of the things that has been a complaint of other people about me for a really long time, like especially in my relationships, was that I was just always on the go, and then I wasn't ever really connecting because everything was just in my head. And so at this point, then I started talking more about what was going on, and then other people are like, oh, you're actually thinking about this. where I just assumed, well, yeah, of course people would assume that I'm thinking about this, right? So what also helped with me voicing that is that continued to help me practice and keep it in the forefront of my mind, and then prevent me from slipping back into old patterns of behavior and those habits, which is what one of the first things in my first call, I said, I have this 4-year cycle. I need help breaking this 4-year cycle. And it was every 4 years, I'm either looking for a new job, or I'm looking for a new college level course to take, or I'm thinking about having another baby, or it's like I need some other type of stress or some other type of challenge. And it always seemed to come in this 4-year cycle. And I really needed to figure out, what is it with that? Why is it that every 4 years I become so unhappy with where my life is at that I feel like I need to add something else on there? And so, I feel like it was at that point that I started falling into those maladaptive behaviors again. And then it just self-perpetuated. So I think just the act of voicing that and keeping it part of my regular practice, by journaling, by reminding myself about what I'm grateful for, just keeping all of those things present and visible in my life, I think has made the biggest difference.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your word?
The slipping.
Yeah. What was your word, Katy? Do you remember what your word was?
Oh, it's still up in my office, and it's happiness.
Oh, happiness. Do you feel like you have that now?
I think so.
What would your
some days, I mean, it's one of those things that, and I actually wrote my dissertation around mindfulness. So it was so ironic, because I'm doing all of this academic work on this concept that I feel like I should have a pretty good grasp on. Right. And I'm really struggling with my own. Like, I could talk about it all day long, right, but do I really practice it? And so, happiness can be a state that we move in and out of all the time. And so you're not always going to be happy in every moment. Sure. But it can also be a trait of being, and just you have this overall sense of happiness and fulfillment in your life. And I think with all the tools that I've learned and the strategies and the connections that I've made with people and helping provide that support and that accountability has helped me achieve that trait of happiness.
Oh my gosh. I love that, Katy. That's so beautiful. What would your husband say right now? Like, what is before Katy and after Katy?
I think now he would probably say that I'm a lot more confident. I'm willing to take some calculated risks, but also include him in it, rather than just take some feedback and internalize it and then making decisions on my own without, making it a team decision or a team effort. And that was my go-to. I would just kind of clam up and figure, okay, well, I just got to do it myself. Nobody else is here to help me. And so there's been an improvement in communication. There's been an improvement in connection with my family. I've also felt, especially because this first year of having a newborn and then also having older kids, and I've been nursing for this entire year. So managing, a nursing baby and a demanding job, and, the demands on my time are so intense that I feel like since CWU, I've felt more confident in asking, can you watch the baby for a couple hours while I go take care of myself? Whereas before, I would just take care of the baby and feel so much resentment that I was the only one that was doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Such a common high achiever thing to do. Take it all on, and then we're resentful, of everyone else in our life.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. So many beautiful things are happening for you and your family. And what I love, Katy, is, and I hope for everyone watching, her career hasn't changed. You didn't step back. You haven't, changed. You're still who you are. You're still doing what you want to do. If anything, at, an even more authentic, higher level than before. So what do you want to leave with someone who's watching this? Like, something that if someone's listening to this interview, like, what do you want them to take away or understand?
I think my recommendation and my referrals for CWU to the other women that I have worked with, especially in my field that has such a huge burnout rate for people in general, not just women, but women even more so because of all of the demands in their own personal lives, is that you have to be a priority for yourself. You can have any kind of job if being a high achiever self, you're going to figure out a way. Like, you have this innate drive, you have this desire to, set a goal and try new things in order to achieve that goal. And that's not going to change. You're still going to be that person. But how you approach that in your life helps bring an inner sense of peace and calmness. And you just present yourself to the world in a very different way. And it doesn't have to be this frenetic pace and you feel like you have all of these pressures on you and then you're just unhappy and then you let things that are really valuable to you fall by the wayside. It doesn't have to be that way.
I love that. Success is possible on your terms.
Yeah. And success looks different for different people, and that's okay. That's okay. It's going to come across in different ways. And it's really important to have you be that priority to really dig into what is really valuable to you. Because another piece about being an overachiever is sometimes we're achieving somebody else's goals for us. Yeah. And we don't realize that those really aren't our goals.
Totally. Katy, thank you so much.
Idea that you thought.
Yeah, exactly. And so getting really clear on that. Thank you so much. This has been a beautiful interview. Really appreciate you sharing your story. I know there's other women out there who are going to hear these different pieces and go, wait a minute, just like you did. I'm that person too. I'm struggling as a high achiever with success and some of the things you talked about. So thank you for being willing to share. Totally appreciate that. For those of you who are listening, Katy's journey really started with a phone call to our team. So I invite you to have that phone call. If you're a high achieving woman, if you're in a demanding role, if you're giving more to your work than you are to your private life, then I just encourage you to book a call with our team. We'll jump on the call for 45 minutes to an hour. We'll sort out what's going on for you. If we can help you, great. We'll definitely come up with some clarity and a plan on how to do that. So I just encourage you, anyone who's listening to this, like, don't be afraid to set up the call. Let's at least start with that call, because in that time, you're going to get so much clarity about what's possible. Katy, thank you again. Thanks for doing this. Yeah. And thank you for being so amazing and paying it forward and being a woman who is going to help change the world in your own special way. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you.